Speaking of here's my transition game.
Yeah.
Speaking of blitzing, whatever you have to say about National Socialism, it's at least an ideology.
Yeah.
Because we watched The Big Lebowski.
Yes. Yeah. This was my recommendation. Because DB had never seen this. I've seen this a few times. I had a friend in college who just loved this movie. It was one of his favorites. He'd quote it all the time. Um,
It's extremely quotable.
yes. This was one of those cult classic movies that when the movie came out, it didn't do very well. Um, but then when it came out on video, it blew up and good to see you, Chingus. And yeah, is this your homework, Larry?
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
but
so I
yeah.
was talking with Daniel about this while I was watching it, and I'm going to use a softer word than I used in the chat because I don't think YouTube likes that word.
Yeah.
But this is basically Chinatown if it was being solved by a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
Daniel, pull the clip.
Yes.
Morons! I have morons on my payroll!
Yeah.
The greatest clip ever created. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, it is a neo noir movie, and it's also a black comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, so it stars Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, uh, Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore, a few others, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Um,
Uh, yeah, but I gotta say though, like the anti-aging CGI on Jeff Bridges in this movie, yeah, a little bit more convincing than it was in Tron, but
yeah, well,
I don't know, like
but he did put on some weight though, in between
yeah,
in between Tron and this movie.
that's true. That probably helped with the aging effects, and he was wearing sunglasses the whole time, so that makes it easier on the animators.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, now that I've done my running gag on Jeff Bridges, we can move on
Yeah.
to the actual movie.
Yes. Yeah. So the Big Lebowski. It centers on yeah, Genghis, yeah, John Turturro is Jesus.
Jesus,
um yes. Jeff Bridges plays Jeffrey the Dude Lebowski, he's basically just a guy who, he lazy old hippie, uh likes to
yes,
likes to go bowling with his friends and drink white Russians and smoke pot.
yep,
um
always White Russians.
Always, yeah, always white Russians. And then one night when he's coming home from the grocery store, a couple of thugs who break into his house, and one of them dunks his head in the toilet, and then the other one pees on his rug.
Had the whole room together.
Yeah, it really tied the room together. uh, uh, and of course, the two thugs, it was a case of mistaken identity. They thought he was some rich guy named Jeffrey Lebowski because,
Yep.
yeah, the wife Bunny owes him money, and of course, the dude famously is like, "My wife? Do you see a wedding ring on my finger? Does this place look like I'm effing married?" The toilet seat's up, man.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So he basically goes to the big Lebowski, the Jeffrey Lebowski, the philanthropist and businessman,
Yes.
to demand payment for his rug.
Yeah, and the Big Lebowski, of course, basically tells him, "No, you're a lazy bum, and you need to get a job." And da 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 da.
The damn hippies vote for Reagan. Da, da,
Y-
da, da.
Right? Yeah. and yeah, Chingus, where's the money, Lebowski? And so then he leaves with he just takes he said, "Oh yeah, I can take any rug I want." So he takes a rug out of the house, and then he meets Bunny, played by Tara Reid.
I did not recognize because she was very young at the time.
Yeah, she's probably like 20 or 21. Um, but and Well, also there is Yuli, who is a German nihilist.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the dude is happy because he finally has a rug. But then Julianne Moore shows up with a couple of guys and knock him out and take the rug. Because apparently that particular rug had some sentimental value for her, and with
It
her.
belonged to my mother. It was not my father's to give.
You're right. Yes. Yeah. Nihilist must be exhausting. um, but okay, all right. And so story progresses, and then Bunny gets supposedly gets kidnapped. This is where like the noir part of it comes
Right.
into it.
Because the noir movie, you never it's never the straightforward case. There's always like a hidden mystery to unravel behind the case.
Right. And so the Big Lebowski gets a ransom note saying that his that Bunny's been kidnapped, and he has the dude. He wants the dude to deliver the ransom. Even offering to pay him 20 grand, and of course, and then when that ends up happening is his buddy Walter, who's played by John Goodman, who might be on the spectrum, as you pointed out.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a touch of the tism.
Yes. Says, well, why don't we just, we throw out give him a ringer with his dirty undies, and and then just keep the $1 million.
Yeah, and short of going completely blow by blow on the entire plot, it
Right.
all
Yeah.
basically goes wrong from there.
Right. Yeah. It's just. Yeah, a bunch of really bad stuff happens to the dude. His car gets stolen, and um, this is yeah. Let's take that hill. Um, uh, but yeah. So long story short, uh, the whole thing was just she wasn't kidnapped. It was fake, and she just kind of ran off. And
Which means that Walter was actually kind of right.
yeah, because he's like, oh yeah, she'll because the dude had a theory that well, she kidnapped herself.
And that was
And
Walt. That's right. No, the dude mentioned that in passing, and
right,
Walter just took it as gospel going forward.
right, yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole very good listening comprehension from the people in this movie. Like, they just don't listen to each other. It's like,
Right. It's kind of funny that the stoned out hippie guy is the voice of reason.
right, yeah. Um, and so then they basically then the whole thing too was that the Big Lebowski, he's actually not a savvy businessman, and and so he's just basically taking money out of the family's foundation. And so he basically took 1 million out and kept it for himself.
Right. Using the whole ransom attempt. By the way, spoilers, folks.
Yeah, yes, yeah, spoilers.
He was basically his way to. Oh no, the money was taken by kidnappers. Wink.
Wink, yeah. And then of course he got the other what kills me is the bit with where this other private investigator is following the dude around, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Who do you work for?" He's like, "I work for the Knutsons." Like, who the f are the Knutsons? And it's Bunny's family from Minnesota.
Yeah, they tried to get her back.
Trying to get her back, and he's like, I love your stuff, man. Playing one side against the other in bed with everybody, just fabulous."
Yeah, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chinga
You know,
says, yeah. Go ahead.
the energy I always get, uh, uh, the energy I kept getting from this movie. Do you remember the Towley episode of South Park, where the kids find this whole government conspiracy made this bioengineered living towel,
Yeah.
And this whole elaborate plot is playing out around them, and the kids just could not give less of a crap about it. They just want their Okama Game Sphere back. Damn it!
Yeah.
That is basically the little Lebowski in this movie. That is the dude in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he just wants his rug back. He wants people to stop stealing his car. He just wants to get out of this.
Yeah. 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 Oh man. And and yeah, and Chingus says, yeah, his favorite part was Walter was pretty much correct on everything until he broke the other Lebowski's back. Yeah, yeah, I've seen a few spinals in my day.
Right, that guy can get up and walk.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
uh, probably the best scene in the movie was when they go to scatter some ashes on a cliffside, and
yeah.
Walter once again brings it back to Vietnam, apropos of nothing.
Right. Yeah. Because everything is always about Vietnam with him.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah. And what killed me was the part before that when they're at the funeral home and they're talking to the funeral director and and they're like, well, the urn was like they couldn't afford yeah, they couldn't afford $180 urn.
Yeah. They got a
Uh,
coffee can.
so they got a coffee can. What kills me, Walter's like, just because we're bereaved doesn't make us saps.
Yeah, like he just couldn't ever accept anything that anybody was doing.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, so they scatter the ashes, and of course the ashes just blow right back into the dude's face.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, so that's basically the experience of the movie is it's a it's a noir mystery with a cast of simpletons. Really, everybody's kind of an idiot or a prick through the whole thing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Um, what's her name? The businessman's daughter kind of comes off the best,
Yeah.
though she's kind of a humorless killjoy
Oh
who
yeah. Yeah.
who's also kind of written like she has a touch of the tism.
Yeah. Yeah. She is the typical prototypical feminist. She even has the bowl cut.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then of course the whole scene where she and the dude have intercourse, and she starts doing yoga because it increases the chances of conception.
yeah. Yeah, and she picked him specifically because she figured that um, he wouldn't have any interest in actually,
Raising the kid,
yeah,
or yeah,
or having a relationship with her.
right, yeah. But yeah, yeah, this movie is yeah, like you said, it's just uh I'm trying to think of a good way to this is kind of one of those movies where like it all kind of comes back to the because in the end, like nothing really it is kind of a noir in the sense that nothing ever really gets solved, and then they just kind of go
Mhm.
back to where they were at the beginning.
Right, they're just back to their everyday lives.
Right, yeah, as the dude says at the end, the dude abides.
Right, the dude does not. Right, because like basically everybody has their theory, and I think everybody is wrong
Right.
except for the dude. But the only reason the dude is right about anything is because the dude doesn't give a crap.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And I just like the part where his car gets stolen, and he's sitting in his living room with the two cops, and he's like, well, I had a tape deck in there and some credence, and he said, you guys gonna find the car? He's like, oh yeah, well, maybe, but I wouldn't hold that much hope for the tape deck or the credence.
So, so I'm going to make a confession here.
Hmm.
I actually did not like this movie much. Uh,
Mm,
like you might like I can laugh along with it, like the lines in isolation,
yeah.
but and I'm waiting for Changus and or Ninja just to call me a Philistine in the comments there. So like the reason I can kind of laugh along, and I remember all of the remember all of the moments is
Yeah.
partially because some of them have been seeded into my brain by years of memes, and I did actually catch that bit where the Germans had attacked him with the ferret in the bathtub on TV once. So at the line, whatever you have to say about National Socialism, it's at least an ethos.
Yeah.
Uh, has stuck in my head for many years with no context.
Yeah. He
Um,
calls it a marmot too.
yeah, they keep calling it the wrong animal.
Yeah.
Um, what I would say about my actual experience of watching this was that okay. So let's say that a drama that doesn't quite hit for you can become a comedy.
Mm.
Like classic example is The Room,
Yeah.
or even Twilight with the right mindset.
Yeah.
Like you can just start finding humor in the flubbed character beats and the lack of logic. Now, not that this movie has a lack of logic, because every character is exquisitely realized and performed and written.
Hmm. Yeah.
I just found most of the cast extremely tiresome, which I get is the joke, but so it's like I'm like the guy who doesn't like pizza saying, look, I get the point of pizza. Yeah, you have a bread layer and you have some tomato sauce and cheese and some sort of toppings, and I get where somebody could enjoy that, but just the moment to moment watching of it, I just was annoyed at the characters more than anything else.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I will admit the first time I watched it, I didn't get it really. I mean, it wasn't until the very end of the movie with the ashes that I finally kind of got like, okay, these people are just idiots,
Yeah,
and you just
but
kind of have to go along with it. Um,
yeah, there's also a lot of scenes that really felt self indulgent. Like
mhm.
like Sam Elliott is like I like Sam Elliott. Um, I thought he was completely useless and pointless in this movie.
He's, I think Sam Elliott's character, I want to say is I wouldn't say he's the audience, but he's probably certain members of the audience.
He's like, well, he's kind of the Greek chorus because he's there to like introduce the movie and to
Yeah.
give us narration when we need it. And
Yeah, he only interacts with two people. He interacts with the dude and then the bartender at the bowling alley. So you
right,
kind of wonder if, yeah, like what his, is he really there kind of thing, you know?
like is he a guardian angel or something?
Yeah, yeah.
It's possible, and he did know about Lebowski getting what's her name pregnant, so that could
Yeah.
imply some sort of higher knowledge, since it's not like the dude was talking about it.
Yeah, and he even says to the dude, like, "Do you have to use so many curse words?"
Yeah. Um, John Goodman, his character was like both the best and worst part of the movie for me, because again, it's just like he kept being the train wreck I wanted to look away from but couldn't because like he is so pathetic. Like he is just like the pitch perfect rendition of a certain type of person who is
Yeah.
just so arrogant and has done nothing to earn that arrogance.
Yeah, and it's constantly telling Donnie to shut the f up.
Yes. Well, I mean, Donnie's just learning disabled, so it's very mean of him to like lash out into him for not following the thread of their conversations.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
come on. But like, so it's like again, like I didn't enjoy the moment to moment watching it. Maybe I give it a shot again in 6 months, and it's my favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
But there were just like a lot of scenes that seemed self indulgent, like all of the dream sequences I could have done without.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, like the whole, yeah, like the bowling part, yeah, was a little
Right.
like,
Where
yeah.
like they specifically set it around the first Gulf War, and they had like Saddam Hussein was suddenly
Yeah,
in the
he's
dream sequence,
yeah.
working at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is just a bunch of this is the Coen brothers just having fun.
Yeah.
And this isn't my first Coen brothers movie. I've seen Hail Caesar and What's that? What that bluegrass one they did? Oh, brother, where art thou?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was theirs too, right?
I th- I believe it was. Yeah.
The
Um,
internet's
yeah. I'd seen a couple of their stuff before. Like I want to.
Cohen.
Yeah. I'd seen like No Country for Old Men. Um, their remake of True Grit. Um, Hudsucker Proxy, which is pretty good. That's a pretty good movie with
I don't know,
uh,
man. If you're gonna suck HUDs, do it yourself. Don't use a proxy.
yeah.
That's the dumb joke that comes to my mind every time I hear that title, just because it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. um but yeah, uh yeah, their brand of humor is very different. Yeah.
It almost reminds me of Wes Anderson to an extent, where like the humor derives from the characters being exceptionally awkward in weirdly staged moments. Eh, If there's like a if you I actually in college I watched The Life Aquatic with Steve Siso, and I described it as autistic cinema, where it's like none of the emotions come out of any of the characters, even when they're good actors.
Yeah.
Um, I would actually say that like if there's a spectrum, Wes Anderson is up here, the Coens are around here,
Yeah.
because like Jeff Bridges still has normal emotional reactions.
Yeah. Yeah. We know it's his effing homework. Where's the effing money, you little brat?
Yeah. Well, it's just like that scene where the kid just refused to say anything and the mom didn't intervene.
Yeah.
Like that was and I saw the punchline to that scene coming a mile away.
Yeah.
As soon as he started, you know, I don't care if this kid is a little shit who doesn't well, who just wants to be emo and not react to anything. If they were breaking up a car that he just bought himself, he would be extremely distraught right now. So that's not going to be his car, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, what would kill me was the kid's dad was like this famous writer of a TV show.
Yeah, for what was it, Gunsmoke? Some
Brandon.
western.
Brandon.
Brand,
Yeah.
Brandon, that's it. And then he's just laying there in an iron lung. Yeah,
Yeah. We're big fans of yours. Yeah.
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 The movie is full of like these little awkward bits, and
Yeah.
again, it's there are some times where I stand outside of the mainstream with regards to these movies. Just again, maybe I need a second viewing down the line to really appreciate it, but
Yeah.
I just again, I just like it's funny. It's like I could think of all these moments as being really funny looking back on them,
Yeah.
but like the actual watching of them, I was just kind of rolling my eyes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I don't know. So again, it could just be a me thing.
Yeah.
I am not here to. I am here to give my opinion, and that is my opinion.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you even like but even like just watching it, this was a well-made movie. This is exactly what the Coens wanted it to be.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so by the standards of did they hit the goal that they achieved or they went for? Did they hit the goal that they were targeting? Yes. It
Mhm.
is by that metric a perfect movie.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. And defined the life of a lot of millennials. And
Yeah, 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 maybe too well.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Well,
Yeah.
it's probably kept bowling leagues, more popular than they would have been without it.
No, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, also, that Jesus character completely useless in the movie,
Yeah.
and they actually made a sequel starring him years later.
Yeah. Which I heard about, but I don't know where if it's available to watch anywhere. I'm really not interested in watching that. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
like of all the characters to do a spinoff of, it's like I'd honestly be more curious what Walter's gotten himself into or 30 years on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
he's a character.
Oh yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting to see if he's still Jewish.
Yeah. Like maybe he's moved on to being a Muslim or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, it's yeah, go check it out. It's on Netflix right now. If
Yep.
you've never watched it, although from what I can gather from Changus and uh oh, okay, Changus says okay,
Oh,
Jesus rolls.
was it a YouTube Red thing?
It might have been a YouTube Red thing, yeah. So it's very different than the Big Lebowski. Okay.
Were the Coens also responsible for that one?
I don't think so.
That is such a weird choice again. Like you just take this, it'd be like, well, it's actually kind of what it's like making a whole TV show about Cassian Andor.
It's yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Except Cassian had way more lines, so
Yeah, that's true. Nobody
all right.
F's with the Jesus.
Nobody.
8-year-olds, dude. Oh man. All right. Well, okay. Enough of me quoting the movie, which Chinggis has been doing the entire time.
Yes, and I could tell that you enjoyed it more than I did. But I'm also open to the idea that, like you said, it took you a couple of tries. So
Yeah.
maybe it's an acquired taste.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we have exhausted all of these topics for tonight.